Many people have serious accidents while using tools. It happens all the time. They nearly put out their own eye while using an ordinary screwdriver. They cut off their own fingers with a power saw. They kill themselves when they switch on a power drill. People are often surprised and unprepared for the kind of damage these tools can do and how quickly it all can happen. If you are going to work with any power or hand tool, you need to know how to work with it safely. The first thing you should do to protect yourself is to take care of your eyes. Even screwdrivers, pliers, and wrenches cause eye injuries, and the simple truth is, the chances of these accidents happening are not 1 in a million as most people think. They happen a lot. Do yourself a favor and make a habit of wearing eye protection when working with tools. People most often hurt themselves with screwdrivers, pliers, and wrenches because these tools can easily slip when pressure is applied. When choosing a screwdriver for a job, make sure the tip fits the screw slot as tightly as possible. That means the tip should not be too thick, too thin, or too narrow. If the blade is too wide, you may damage the work when the screw is driven home. Screwdrivers are often damaged because they've been substituted for metal chisels, punches, scrapers, wedges, and pry bars. A damaged screwdriver is unfit to drive screws unless the tool can be properly redressed. Most serious screwdriver injuries happen when someone is holding the screwdriver in one hand and the workpiece in the other. Lay the work down on a flat surface or secure it in a vise. And remember that a screwdriver often slips when someone is first trying to get the screw started. If you use an awl or drill a pilot hole first, you can eliminate many of these accidents and make your job much easier. There are 2 precautions to take when using a wrench or a pair of pliers. First, make sure you find the tool which gets the best and most secure grip or fit on the work. Second, put yourself in a position where you won't be caught off balance if something suddenly gives way. Let's take a look at 2 of the most misused tools in this family: adjustable pliers and wrenches. The chief feature of these tools is that you can put them on nearly any piece of work within the stretch of their adjustable jaws. But the problem is that they don't ever fit a nut, bolt, or stud very well. Although adjustable wrenches are safer to use on a fastener than pliers, even wrenches tend to loosen their grip as the tool is worked. In most situations, neither tool works well enough. Under pressure, the tool will slip, round the corners of the nut, and possibly send your hand into surrounding machinery. If you round the corners, no tool will ever fit the nut properly. Adjustable pliers and wrenches are a poor substitute for a properly sized wrench. Open-end wrenches are a good choice for medium-duty turning, but if you have to use a lot of force to break free a tight nut or give a nut a final tighten, you are much better off with a box or socket wrench. These tools encircle what you're turning and give the tightest and most secure fit on nuts, bolts, and studs. Open-end, box, and socket wrenches must be securely seated on the work and not cocked in any way. No matter what tool you are using, make sure it fits properly and is securely on the work before applying any pressure. Too many people hurt themselves when they try to use a pipe wrench which is too small for the pipe being worked. To fit properly and not slip, the outer sawtooth must extend beyond the center of the pipe. Now, even if the tool fits securely, you can still have an accident if you are caught off balance. Try to brace yourself in a position which allows you to pull the tool toward you rather than leaning into the work. If the wrench is too short, you may be tempted to gain added leverage by slipping a piece of pipe over the handle or by banging on it with a hammer. Many people are hurt while attempting to get a small tool to do the work of a big tool. If a nut is frozen, use some penetrating oil and a sturdy box or socket wrench, and never strike a wrench unless you are using a striking face wrench and a ball-peen hammer or sledge. Hammers, sledges, mauls, hatchets, and axes cause many eye injuries, particularly when these tools are improperly used with chisels, punches, star drills, and wedges. Let's get one thing straight. Eye protection is not optional when using one tool to strike another, or any time you hit something that can chip, shear, or shatter. Use a nail hammer to drive and pull unhardened nails. The size, weight, shape, and hardness of nail hammers make them unsafe for other uses, particularly with cold chisels or hardened masonry nails. Ball-peen hammers are specifically designed to be used with chisels and punches, as well as for shaping unhardened metal. The striking face of these hammers is more rounded than those designed to drive nails. The shape helps reduce the shearing action of a glancing blow to a chisel and the rocketing metal slivers that can be produced. When using one tool to strike another, the striking face diameter should be at least 3/8 of an inch or 9 millimeters larger than the face of the struck tool to help further reduce the chances of a glancing blow. It is very important to keep all these tools in the best possible condition. A mushroom chisel like this is one of the most dangerous tools you could try to use. If you should happen to strike a glancing blow, a piece of metal is likely to shear off and rocket toward a hand or eye. Keep both ends of these tools in top condition by redressing them. A sharp chisel will be much less likely to slip if it's sharp enough to cut the work. Always check hammers, sledges, and mauls to be sure the handles are not cracked and that the head is firmly wedged on the handle. When using striking and struck tools, many people hurt themselves or someone else because they allow themselves to be distracted. However, you do need to be aware of the approach of others into your vicinity. Around the home, be particularly on the lookout for children. A lot of people hurt themselves using cutting tools. Not only can the tool itself be dangerous, but after the cut is made, the work may be even more dangerous than the tool. When cutting wire, don't increase the danger by cutting it at an angle. Diagonally cut wire can easily pierce a hand or even penetrate work gloves. Trimming off a short piece of wire can cause the piece to fly off. Be sure to wear safety goggles. Cutting sheet metal with the various types of snips can leave a razor-sharp edge. Wear the required protective gear. While making a cut, maintain a 90-degree angle with the work in order to avoid a metal edge which is bent or burred. If you stop the cut 1/4 inch from the tip of the tool and take a fresh bite, the metal will have less tendency to tear. Be alert for the instant release of stored energy when cutting something that's under pressure, for example, metal banding. The released pressure may cause the sharp metal band to leap out and strike you just like a snake. And remember, people have been hurt when after cutting one band, another band suddenly gave way and struck them. These injuries are often serious. Knives cause more disabling injuries than any other hand tool. Just about all you have to do is touch them. Make sure the tool is the right one for the job and in good condition. The handle must be securely attached and the blade sharp. A dull knife is much more dangerous than a sharp one. A knife which has been used as a screwdriver, scraper, or pry bar may have been damaged and can be dangerous to use. Give the job your full attention. Arrange the work so that you can cut away from or out of the line of your body. If the job calls for protective gear, wear it. If you are to wear gloves, like these mesh gloves, make sure they fit. A glove which fits too tightly can fatigue your hand. If a glove is too loose, you may have a hard time controlling your movements. Many knife and other cutting tool accidents happen when a person is not using the tool at all, but is only holding it, stashing it away unsafely, or carrying it unsheathed. Never put an unsheathed knife in a toolbox where it can cut you if you reach in for another tool. Keep the exposure time of a bare knife to a minimum, and never carry even a properly sheathed knife on the front part of a belt. Always carry it on the right or left hip toward the back. If possible, store knives separate from your other tools to protect the cutting edge and yourself. Plants which have set up knife use programs have seen dramatic improvements in their knife accident records. The rules are pretty simple. Use only the right knife, which is in good condition, use and store it properly, and wear the required protective gear. Okay, much of what we've had to say about hand tool safety also applies to power tool safety, only more so. If you make a mistake with a power tool, the consequences come at you hard and fast. The results can be deadly. Mistakes can be avoided if the manufacturer's instructions are followed. One of the first things you probably will have to watch out for is kickback. Kickback happens when the spinning motion of a saw blade, drill bit, or other rotating piece is transferred either to the work or back to the tool itself. As a result, the tool or work suddenly jolts or jerks, often toward the operator. Depending on the tool, there are a number of steps you can take to protect yourself from kickback. The first and most important step is to put yourself in the situation where you can get both hands on the tool. Not only will you be able to control the tool if it does kick back, but you will virtually eliminate the chances of sawing off or drilling through your own fingers. If the work is not stationary, the best way to get both hands on the tool is to clamp the work. A clamp must be secure. Many drilling accidents happen when the drill breaks through the work and binds or grabs. This is especially a problem when drilling through several pieces of stock at once. When the drill catches, the work is often violently slung around. Anything in its path can be broken or sliced. Stay out of the direct line of a saw cut in order to keep yourself out of the flight path if a tool or work kicks back. Be particularly alert if the wood is wet, warped, or may have knots or nails. To help prevent kickback, make sure drill bits and saw blades are sharp and in good condition. When working with power saws, you've got some additional precautions. Adjust the cutting depth according to the manufacturer's instructions. Different blade types may need to ride differently along the cut. Before you make the cut, make sure the blade reaches full speed before contacting the work. And during the cut, make sure the blade doesn't begin to ride out of the work. Now, you can really have a gruesome kickback accident with a chainsaw, so be careful. Always use two hands and wear clothing that offers you some protection, including heavy boots. Now, here's where a lot of people get in trouble, especially the weekend user. Never continue to operate a chainsaw or any other tool after you become tired. A common cause of injury while using power tools is loss of balance. Move ladders and change positions rather than take a chance of falling. Think ahead and prevent someone from tripping over an airline or power cord while you are operating a tool. Nowhere is eye protection more important than when using grinders. Many people unaware of the dangers step up to a grinder to give a hand tool a quick lick without protecting themselves. Unfortunately, many people have lost an eye just that way. Besides wearing eye protection, the single most important thing you can do if you work with a grinder is to be sure you have the right wheel and that it is in perfect shape. Any flaws in a wheel make it immediately unfit for use. If you replace a worn wheel, make sure the new wheel exactly matches the old one. Powder-actuated tools used at construction sites are in a class by themselves. Nail guns and other devices often use .22 caliber shells to drive nails or studs into wood or concrete. These tools require training before use. Treat them as you would any firearm, because that's just what they are. Using these tools also presents a serious threat to your hearing. Chainsaws, metal chipping hammers, jackhammers, nail guns, and many other power tools require hearing protection if you're going to use the tool safely. And remember, sanders and other tools that create a lot of dust require a dust mask or even a respirator. There's an assortment of accidents that are tough to categorize, but they often violate all the rules of common sense. These are the accidents where people cut off their own fingers or drill into their own hand. The Consumer Product Safety Commission reported that in a recent one-year span, power tools caused 250,000 injuries to the hand alone. Most of these accidents happen to the offhand, the hand that was not on the tool. Many hand injuries could have been prevented if a guard hadn't been tampered with. Here's another common mistake. Reaching over these hedge trimmers to grab the top of this bush may not look dangerous, but it is. Take a look at this tool's blade. A finger is a perfect fit. Use common sense and pay attention to what you're doing. Don't ever put your offhand anywhere near the business end of an operating tool or the cutting line of a saw. Never concentrate so hard on the cut that you lose track of everything else, especially hands, legs, and power cords. When working with power tools, watch out for loose clothing, gloves, jewelry, and hair, which can turn a near miss into a serious accident if they are grabbed by the tool. People ruin the work or drill into their hands and legs because they don't find a proper flat surface to drill on, can't find the right length bit, or don't center punch the work first. The unexpected startup of the tool has caused many injuries. Never adjust a tool while it is connected to its power source unless it must be adjusted while running. Never carry a tool with your finger on the trigger. And don't plug a tool into an electrical outlet with the tool locked into the on position. After a job is done, don't relax your grip on a tool until it has completely stopped. Even after that, you still have to be careful. An operating tool gets hot and stays hot even after you set it down. Now, some of the most serious accidents happen when a person gets into trouble with a tool's power source. Take pneumatic tools. People injure their eyes by using the air pressure to clean machines or blow off dust. This practice may seem harmless, but don't do it. Even eye protection may not keep the swirling particles out of your eyes. Working with gasoline presents special hazards because of the fuel's high flammability. Adequate ventilation is a must when refueling and using any gasoline-powered tool. Electric shock presents one of the most serious hazards that people have to face when using a tool. Many people are electrocuted every year. Others fall or hurt themselves with a tool after receiving only a mild shock. Even minor shocks cause muscle spasms, which can put you in real danger if you're operating a power tool. An electric tool should be checked periodically. Make sure the unit is properly grounded or double insulated. Never use a two-prong extension cord, outlet, or adapter with a three-prong tool. And never assume that a two-prong tool is double insulated. Double insulated tools should be clearly labeled. Beyond these precautions, make sure you are completely aware of the job site conditions. For one thing, you don't have to be standing in water to electrocute yourself. If moisture is present at all, or if you're standing on metal, consider not using a power tool. If you do use one, make sure you use a ground fault circuit interrupter. These devices are very sensitive to electrical surges and are designed to trip before you are hurt. If for some reason you don't think household voltage is enough to kill you, you are dead wrong. It takes as little as 1/10 of an amp to kill you, and most home circuits are rated to at least 15 amps. If you work around electrical sources, be extremely careful. Don't ever rely on a tool to protect you. A plastic-coated handle is for comfort, not shock protection. Be sure that the wire you are about to cut isn't a live wire, and be careful when drilling into walls. Wires could be hidden beneath the surface. Power and hand tools are a real threat to your safety. If you're still not convinced, think about this. In a recent year, the National Safety Council reported that in all accidents where someone received compensation, Between 7 and 8% of those accidents involved hand tools. These very common tools do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, it often takes having a serious accident to get a person to take hand tools and power tools seriously. Don't wait for an accident to happen to you. Make it a habit to use these tools safely.